Welcome to Pimpy's Investment Chat, where we keep investment talk simple. And here's your host, Pimpy.
What's going on out there, peeps? So a few of you have said, would you check out this gentleman's video? Because he's saying something different than you are when it comes to the deletion of the zeros. And my first reply was, well, look, everybody has their own opinion, but you can tell those who know their butt from a hole in the ground, if they are sincere, they should have no problems with showing you where the information comes from. This is why when I do my videos, I share the information with you so you can see what I'm talking about. I went to let it go for a little bit, and then another person said, hey, you know, this person is saying that the deletion of the zeros, this individual is saying that you're wrong. They're not going to delete the zeros off the banknotes. They're going to delete the zeros off the exchange rate. So let's go ahead and watch the video and try to figure out where he's getting this idea from and see if we can make sense of it all right? But he definitely has a familiar face. I don't know why. He just looks real familiar. I'll figure it out later. So this is Militia Man. We know there are posts all over the place in Dinar, recap and everything else, who quotes all the different YouTubers who speak about the Dinar. Militia Man is one of them. So it's nice to put a face to the name. But I swear he looks familiar. Wait a minute. Is this who I think it is? For a second there, I thought it was Jeff, trying to disguise himself as somebody else. Okay, so Jeff has a brother out there in YouTube world talking about the dinar as well, looks like. All right, so let's get back into this.
Militia Man here. It's been a wonderful weekend. We had a Father's Day. I pray everybody that had to have a father or lost a father had a good day, okay? Because some of them will be missed and some of them will rejoice. But thank you so much for your kind words this weekend. I happen to be a grandfather for a month, a little bit more.
So congratulations to Militia Man. If I didn't know any better, I think he's saying that he is a new grandfather. So that's always an exciting time in people's lives.
And so it was a really fun time. We had a great day. But to move on, hey, look, there's been some things that have been being talked about out there in our realm of dinar, okay? One of the things that has been bantered around somewhat is that the deletion of the zeros project is not getting the credit where it's due, because to be fair, if you go back to like 1990,
it's not getting the credit that it's due. I'm not sure what he means by that. It's not getting the credit that it's due. The deletion of the zeros is a program. It's a move that a government makes to lower the banknote count that's out there in circulation. So the credit that is due, I'm not exactly sure what that means, but let's hear what he has to say.
One of the things that has been bantered around somewhat is that the deletion of the zeros project is not getting the credit where it's due, because to be fair, if you go back to like 1990, I believe to 2007, we had the Gulf War and we had some things like that. But if you go back in time, you got to think about stuff, because a lot of times we get hung up in the now. But if you go back and reflect in the past and then come forward, you can see all the things that have been done. And you can have a misperception. And we all get upset and get worried or emotional because of need.
So I don't know. He's just rambling on a bunch of nonsense. It makes no sense. He sounds like John Fetterman or Joe Biden. He started to say why the deletion of 3 zeros don't get the credit it's due, but then just mumbles a bunch of crap off. So hopefully he gets to the point, but I'm not sure what the hell he's trying to say.
The bottom line is that Iraq is in need, and they have been for well over 20 years. So the project itself got started, and the process from about 1990 to say 2007, the Iraqi dinar was about 4,000 dinar to 1. And so if you look at it as an investment standpoint, today it's 1310 according to the CBI's website.
If you were lucky enough to buy the Iraqi dinar when it was 4,000 dinars for every dollar, when it went down as far as 1,160 dinars for every dollar, man, you made a big chunk of money. You did, because that's one hell of a jump in your investments.
So obviously, the value of the currency has increased since then. Has it ebbed and flowed and gone from 1166, moved to 1166, for instance, to 1180 to 1192, 1460 back to 1310? Has it done that? Well, that's an absolute yes. We've seen that happen. But just keep in mind, the central bank stated,
real quick, he still has not addressed why he thought the deletion of the zeros did not get its credit. So that's interesting that he kind of just either forgot about it or blew right past it, hoping that nobody noticed.
Mohammed Saleh Qasim, he was the deputy governor at the time, back in 2012. He came out and discussed the items about the dinar and gave about 6 specific things that needed to be taken care of. I'm not going to get into the specific 6 things, but it basically talks about in 1990, 2007, the war of Kuwait, the percentage of the increase. They talk about it. And we go on to find out that the central bank, that's who's talking about this, so those that say it's not happening, they should probably get back in and get involved and do their study, because they're not doing anybody any favors saying specific things that don't have a background.
Wait, what the hell is this guy saying? Seriously, he sounds like John Fetterman. Tell me if they don't sound alike.
Senator Fetterman, earlier today, some comments about the tragic accident in 995, and if you want to make any comments with respect to that, feel free. You're recognized.
No, I would just really like to, the 95, obviously that, you're pretty much preoccupied with 95, and I know I certainly am too, and we know it's a major eatery, not just for Pennsylvania, but for the East Coast.
See what I'm getting at? He talks about things vaguely, and he jumps all over the board and brings up other things that have nothing related to what he was talking about. So I keep waiting for him to close everything together. So I'm not sure what he's talking about in a lot of cases, because he just rambles on. He's talking about how people need to study. I don't think this guy's done any studying whatsoever. As a matter of fact, I know he hasn't, just by the way he's talking about the subject matters. People who don't study what's going on with the Iraqi dinar cannot speak fluently. They jump all over the board like this. They're just trying to wing it, is what he's doing. So I do think it's very interesting that he's saying that people need to go out and study more, when in fact he's the one that actually needs to do studying.
And that's not fair to everybody. So I would suggest that because of this group that we have with the Patreon community, it's really important to try to get the data, which is in writing. Okay, we have it. We have links, but we don't always share those because we have reasons for that. But the truth is that we.
Why wouldn't you share your links? I don't understand. You see, if you're in the dinar community and you're making videos, you're trying to share your information, share with everybody, make it free. Show everybody your resources. This way, then they could double check your work so they can help relate to what you're talking about, because God knows you're not making any sense. So if you have people who are trying to hide links from you so you can't validate them or to see where the information is coming from, that doesn't sound right to me. Maybe what am I, the only person out there who's sharing the links? I guess so.
We have links, but we don't always share those because we have reasons for that. But the truth is that we can come in and talk to everybody that we have certain things. They talk about specific sectors. They talk about social studies. They talk about the agricultural sector. They talk about many things, money in society, the different currencies, denominations. They talk about that. They talk about how much money supply they have. They do all of that, and they did that back in 2012. They talked about it, and they still do. They still talk about these things.
Man, I don't even know how to fully review what he's talking about to help you understand why it is he thinks the way he does, and that it's a change in the exchange rate versus what I know it is, which is a redenomination, the deletion of the zeros or the lopping of the zeros. It's hard to follow along, you guys, but I'm gonna keep trying.
It's not easy to get all that information to put it into a short box, into a small package that everybody can understand overnight. Because there's a lot of new people here. There's a lot of new people coming in probably.
Well, that's why it's your job to try to digest the information and break it down as simple as possible.
Because why? Because it's actually a valid investment to be involved in, as far as I'm concerned. If it wasn't, I wouldn't be here. I really wouldn't be. Okay? So look at it on the standpoint of has the Central Bank of Iraq and the government of Iraq been working together, and have they educated the citizens, and have they educated us over the years? Because of the stops and starts. 2012, they talked about it. 2013, believe it or not, they tell you.
Man, I'm serious, you guys. This is a serious question. Can you follow him along? I mean, when you listen to him, do you understand what he's talking about? I'm confused about what is this points. He's just throwing a bunch of crap together, and none of it makes sense. It's truly just rambling on, trying to sound like you know what you're talking about. Somebody actually does the research. They won't fumble around like this. So I'll listen for a little bit longer, but man, I can only tolerate it for so long. He truly is all over the map. Like I said, he sounds like John Fitterman.
That they started the design work for the new small category notes. They tell you about that stuff. They tell you which ones. They tell you what's on them. They tell you why they do that. So if you go back and look in history, just because they turned it off and turned it back on doesn't mean they quit.
If you go back in history, that doesn't mean to turn it off and turn. Is he talking about history, turning history on and off? What are you talking about? What the hell is this guy talking about? I feel like I have to get drunk just to kind of get a half-ass idea what the hell he's talking about.
Just means that there's circumstances. Just like ISIS was a major circumstance, okay? So in 2013, they start designing the money. 2014, 2015, they have things that go on. They decided to postpone. They have postponements.
Postpone what? What the hell is this guy talking about? Turn it on, turn it off, history. ISIS was a major issue, 2012, 2013. I mean, seriously, I'm trying to follow along here.
In this whole process. But in and around after ISIS, they decided to keep moving forward. And they talk about that stuff in this news. We have that data, and we can...
Oh, there's no data. Once ISIS got the hell out of there, then of course they're going to go about restabilizing their lives and moving forward. That just makes sense. There's no data about it, or there's no data you need to study. All you need to know is that the caliphate that they established there has been removed.
Talk about it a little bit, but the truth is if in fact that they stopped and started, there's no reason to believe that they can't stop and start it again.
What the hell is this guy talking about?
It's just that they haven't stopped the process. They started the process again in my view, 2017 and 2018. They just haven't finished it yet. Look, there's a...
Stop and started what? What is he talking about? Seriously.
Component here shows really in brief that there's the links to these articles that I've just been talking about, okay? That's these guys, it's for real. It's a central bank's site. One of the things they talk about, and they go back in time, even as far back as 2010, because remember, we talked about this as far as 2003 is when they changed the currency, 1990 to 2007, but during that period of time, 2003 era, they changed the currency. And since they did that, adding those zeros, Dr. Shabibi had to because of economic circumstances.
Okay, so we all know that in 2003, Iraq had created their new currency, and got rid of the Saddam Hussein banknotes as well as the Swiss dinars. In 2008, they redesigned them and made sure they had security features that are on them. Same looking banknotes, but with security features that were added, which is big because there was a lot of counterfeit going on. I think that's what he's trying to say, because he's all over the map. You can tell he's not done any real studying on this because he is not clarifying things. He's just all over the map.
But the exchange rate of foreign currency in an economic feasibility study, and it says that the study was done in 2010, and they're estimating the value of the dinar to be worth about $1.13, okay?
He is getting his information from something like Dinar Recap or what have you. He's jumping around inside there. The $1.13 to $1.17 rate was me showing the BTI reports, the feasible reports, that they were saying that in their opinion this was going to be the exchange rate. That's where the information came from. It spread like wildfire. I get it. But it's interesting that he is reading it. So now I know where the information comes from. Because if he had the real BTI report, he can get into detail a lot more than he's doing now.
But a lot has changed since that time frame. We're not in 2013. We have all the things that you guys have been listening to us here at Patreon and in YouTube. We've been talking about the value that they have added based off of the electronic systems. Like, for instance, the e-government, one of the most important. The ICUTA system, electronic taxes and tariffs at the borders, the new clearing systems, the ISO 20022 SWIFT system.
So is he claiming that the dinar has gained value because they have new banking systems? No.
Which is, everybody out there seems to think that this is some big, huge nightmare. But the bottom line is it's communication, it's faster, it's more transparent, and it's something that's not going to go away whether you like it or not. Whether I like it or not, it's not going away. In fact, the UK has now today hooked up with the ISO 20022. So very large holders of Iraqi dinar, United States Treasury, the UK, Canada, other countries around the world, even those that are in the SDR basket. For those that you don't know what that is, it's the special drawing rights with the IMF. I suggest you guys Google that, learn it, get caught up, and pay attention.
I guarantee he has no idea what the hell the SDR is. So first he's trying to say that the dinar is gaining value because they have a new electronic platform. Okay, if you say so. He's talking about the ISO 20022 system. All that is the new improved Swiss 2.0 system. That's all it is. And all that system does is clear up on transmittance the language that is used. It makes it easier to communicate between the receiving and giving parties is what it is.
Because there's specific things that people are talking about that are saying that how this currency is going to work. I'm not going to try to get into this all night and tell you that this, that, the other thing.
Because you don't know, that's why.
But the truth is that there's going to be some things that if you look at that, if you got a good snapshot, you could probably find that link you can go to and find from the central bank that, in fact, there are issuances of currencies, denominations, for instance, that are coming. And they're not 000 notes.
So this is what he's talking about, redesigning of the currencies of the lower denominations. He says new and improved banknotes include new design representing a Syrian community. So we are already familiar with the larger banknotes, the 50,000 dinars, the 25,000 dinars, and now they're talking about creating a 20,000 dinar. But a lot of people really don't talk about the 1,000 dinar, the 500 dinar, and the 250 dinar. These are the ones he's talking about that don't have the 3 zeros. But yeah, this has been spoken about now for quite a long time. All they're doing is talking about the designs that they use for the new currency. That's all this is.
And the nice thing about that part is that those 000 notes are going to stick around for about 10 years. So those of you that think it's going to lop and you're going to delete the zeros off the currency, I'm not sure who all you are.
Well, if you don't know who we are, allow me to introduce myself. People call me Pimpy. It's a long story. You wouldn't understand it anyways, apparently. Most of the articles out there talking about the study of the deletion of the zeros has nothing to do with the exchange rate. Nothing whatsoever. When you lop off the zeros or delete the 3 zeros or however many zeros they feel like doing it, it's called a redenomination. Let's rewind a little bit and continue.
So those of you that think it's going to lop and you're going to delete the zeros off the currency, I'm not sure who all you are, but I'll be honest with you. There's a couple that have been coming to us and suggesting that we don't have it right. But the bottom line is that paperwork like this from the Central Bank of Iraq, okay, the IMF, World Bank, the Bank of International Settlements, I think they disagree with you because they say specifically that this stuff can happen they can keep it and will use it to facilitate large banking transactions for 10 years. So the 25K notes, they're going to be worth 25K notes today, but if they change the value, that goes with it because you can't have two exchange rates with the currency internationally.
I think it was about a year and a half ago, Iraq had mentioned that they wanted to remove the 50 and 25,000 dinars out of circulation and use them specifically for bank transaction or large business transactions is what they said. What he's not understanding is this. If they go to redenominate, change the face of the currency, remove zeros off them, that doesn't mean they won't keep the large denominations to do business transactions. I'm just throwing that out there. But they're definitely not going to look the same as the notes we have now. They will change those as well. Whether or not they keep them as large denominations or change them to, that's up to Iraq whether or not they're going to do that. But if you're carrying around 25,000 and 50,000 dinars as a civilian, you're going to have to trade those in, or you might risk the chance of losing out on any type of money that you can get back for the currency because it becomes obsolete. So will they continue to use the 50 and 25,000 dinars to do large bank transactions? Of course, that's possible. Will the dinar note look the same as we know today? No, heck no. Those notes would no longer be any good. He is mixing two things up. He's talking about the bank notes where they delete the zeros or lop off the zeros and the exchange rate. Remember, I spoke about this before. In monetary economics, redenomination is the process of changing the face value of banknotes and coins in circulation. It may be done because of inflation has made the currency unit so small that only large denominations of the currency are in circulation. In such cases, the name of the currency may change or the original name may be used with a temporary qualifier such as new. Redenominations may be done for other reasons such as changing over to a new currency such as the euro or during a decimalization. A redenomination itself is considered symbolic as it does not have any impact on a country's exchange rate in relations to other currencies. It's telling you right here. It may, however, have a psychological impact on the population by suggesting that a period of hyperinflation is over and is not a reminder of how much inflation has impacted them. The reduction of the number of zeros also proves the image of the country abroad. So it has nothing to do with the exchange rate, man. I'm almost positive this has to be Jeff's brother, man, because that's some shit that Jeff would say. When they go around lecturing people how they don't do the research, how they don't do the study, how they have the data. No, they don't. I like to see them come on and bring proof. I like to see them come on and prove to us. What you hear them say is, well, we don't want to share our information because it's inside information. So, no, he is wrong. We're talking about the deletion of the zeros off the banknotes. It has nothing to do with the exchange rate. Could the exchange rate change at the same time that the redenomination takes place? Yeah, I'm sure it could. But I would imagine the first thing they want to do is wait until all the old currency is out of circulation before they even consider something like that.
The 25K notes, they're going to be worth 25K notes today, but if they change the value, that goes with it because you can't have two exchange rates with the currency internationally. It's not going to work. Never has been even suggested. So the misnomers in outside realm of what I'm talking about, bring on the paperwork, show us what you have. Instead of just giving opinions, show us some paperwork, because
Every time I do a video, I show everybody exactly where I got the information from and show you on my screen where the information comes from. Good Lord Almighty, would I love to be able to do a one-on-one with Jeff here, Militia Man here. There's no way on God's green earth this guy would dare step in the arena with me. Just try to have a conversation respectfully. I'm not trying to bash him, but I'm trying to point these things out. He's lecturing people about being educated, but there's no doubt in my mind this guy has no clue what the hell he's talking about. Militia Man, just like everybody else, I invite you to come on my show if you want to have a one-on-one. You do it respectfully. We don't have to curse at one another. We could talk like gentlemen and discuss where we don't see eye to eye and why you think it's one way and why it is I think it's another. You keep saying bring your data. I say the same thing to you. Show me what the hell you're talking about. Let's listen just a little bit longer than I'm done.
because we take time, and all of this work takes time, and frankly, it's not free. So, but anyway.
If he is charging you for the same information I'm getting you for free, I don't understand you guys, man. There is quite a few people that have private groups in which people pay for information that you can get right off the internet for free. So I'm still confused by that, why people would pay for it.
The good part is that there's a lot of us that believe in this, and we try to help people, and we keep doing so. So I want to read a little comment as of, I think it's June 25th, in 2017, it says the Central Bank of Iraq on Thursday that the deletion of the zeros project will be implemented in early 2017, indicating that the bank began to develop the first steps of the project. So in other words, they restarted it because this isn't new. We know that. Okay? It says the bank is working on the mechanisms. We got data here today that specifically talks about what are they working on. With the World Bank, with the WTO, okay, they are working on mechanisms. With the private banks, what are they working on? With mechanisms. They specifically state that that's what they're talking about. The bank is working on mechanisms used towards the implementation. What words are we going to see tonight?
How do you go from talking about the deletion of the zeros to the World Trade Organization to the World Bank, and you're not connecting them? He's just saying the data and this and that, and not much longer.
We're going to see a huge amount of things about implementation, development, and projects. So anybody that's talking about going out into 2024 and 2025 is not studied, and they should probably just, I don't know, give me a call, okay?
Wow, really? I can't imagine that really happening.
Because we can show you this data.
What data are you going to show? I don't understand. He's not very clear. So again, Militia Man, you're more than welcome to come on my show. Bring your data that you have that is pointing you in, I'm not sure exactly what direction you're going into with everything, but just bring it on, and I'll bring mine, you bring yours, and we'll see who's more accurate, because I can't understand a damn thing you're saying. You really do sound like John Fitterman. Militia Man seems like a nice guy. I don't know him personally. Congratulations to him being a new grandfather. I know that's an exciting time in people's lives. But, people are saying, listen to what he's saying, because he's saying that you're wrong. There is no deletion of the zeros off the currency. It's off the exchange rate. That's not accurate. He's wrong. I do think it's ironic that he's telling people to go do the studying and research when I have no doubt in my mind that he has not studied and he has not done any of the research, and whatever data that he has is coming off some dinar website where people are just expressing their opinion. Anyways, you guys, look, I appreciate you guys pointing this out, but you could have just watched the video and figured out on your own that this guy has not done the necessary research. That's why he fumbles with all his words, and it makes no sense, and he's babbling on, and he opens up with a certain subject and then doesn't close it out, and he's all over the map. That's somebody who's trying to wing it. he's clueless about what's going on. Not trying to bash him, but if you guys are paying for his information, more power to you. If you want to donate money like that, just send it to Pimpy's account and I'll be really happy. So in my opinion is, look, Militia Man might be a nice guy. All right, but the information that he is passing off is not accurate. He is not read. He is not researched. You could tell the difference between somebody who is and isn't. They're able to talk about all the subject matters fluently without babbling on about this and that. You guys know what I'm talking about. You'll figure it out on your own. But again, I would welcome him to come on board on my show, or I can go on his show. Either way, it doesn't make a difference to me. And we can have a gentleman's talk. I don't need all the fighting and everything like that. But if he wants to have a gentleman's talk and we can kind of go over the different subject matters and see if we can get things worked out so that the information that he passes off to people listening to him is the proper information. Anyways, that's it for now. I appreciate you tuning in, and I'll catch you later. I'm out.